Welcome to Soils Across Virginia. Today you will hear from several soil and water conservation districts from across the state, who will show you a few of the many soil types found in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Hi there, I'm Ben Young, soil conservationist with the NRCS.
And I'm Kelly, I'm a soil conservationist intern with the NRCS.
We're here today at the Eastern Shore AREC looking at Bojack soils.
We're going to tell you about Bojack soils because they're one of the most common soils found in the Eastern Shore and also the most productive.
And here behind us we have some of the crops that are typically grown in Bojack soils. We have tomatoes right behind us, and a little further over we have potatoes, all grown using plasticulture. Kelly was kind enough to take a soil core for us. So here we can see that this is a pretty deep A horizon going into our B horizon, well-drained sandy soils. And part of what makes them productive, or more productive than our other shore soils, is the mica and feldspar minerals, which we can see as the sort of shiny bits intermixed in with the brown in our soils.
Eastern Shore soils don't have bedrock unlike the rest of Virginia. They actually are formed from marine and fluvial deposits, which means that sediments were deposited by oceans and rivers. Another fun fact to know about Bojack soils is that they were named after the two scientists that discovered them, Bob and Jack. Yay, Bojack soils! Yeah.
Stomp on it. No, stomp on it. Don't just step on it. Like, here you go.
Hello, my name is Stephanie DiNicola, and I am the Education and Outreach Coordinator for Culpeper Soil and Water Conservation District. Culpeper Soil and Water, our name is a little misleading. We cover Culpeper, Greene, Madison, Orange, and Rappahannock counties in the northern Piedmont area. So in our area, the most common types of soil are Davidson clay, star silt loam, and dike loam. All three of these soils have a deep, dark, reddish-brown color and have significant clay layers. Lots of people will say in our community, hey, I have red clay. Almost everybody does. They're all well-drained, but not excessively, and are very deep. So we have way to go to bedrock. The Davidson clay soils consist of loam, and clay layers. The upper layer has a fine, granular, friable structure. It is used to grow small grains, corn, cotton, soybeans, grain, sorghum, hay, and pasture. Our common crops in the northern Piedmont, in my district, are pasture for cattle and other animals, and corn. We also grow soybeans in large numbers. We have mature forests, and we grow cover crops. An interesting thing about our soil is our soil, the Davidson soil, was used a long time ago to dye clothes. So everybody used to dye their white clothes in Davidson soil, and then they'd end up with varying shades of orange. So I suppose bright orange is better than everybody wearing white. And then your clothes were always dirty. So I guess it blended in on any kind of messes you got yourself into. So that's the common soil in my neck of the woods. Hope you enjoy learning about soils across Virginia.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Watson. I am the Education Outreach Specialist at the Northern Neck Soil and Water Conservation District, which is located in Warsaw, Virginia. Our district serves the 4 counties that make up the Northern Neck, and they are Lancaster County, Northumberland County, Westmoreland County, and Richmond County. Now, the Northern Neck is actually a peninsula. Neck is another word for peninsula. And because we're a peninsula that is the northernmost one in Virginia that's on the Chesapeake Bay, that's how the Northern Neck got its name. Now, because of our close proximity to water, we're surrounded on three sides by the Chesapeake Bay, the Potomac River, and the Rappahannock River. So our soils tend to be very, very sandy. They're a mixture of a sandy, loamy type soil. And while there are many different varieties of soils that are in the Northern Neck, I wouldn't be able to tell you all about them because there's so many different ones. So I'm just going to go over the primary ones in each county. So in Westmoreland County, the primary mixture of soil is known as Rumford, Kempville, Emporia. And that makes up 34% roughly of the soils in the county. The next predominant mixture is Suffolk Rumford, and it makes up about 23%. The rest of the soils are a mixture of different types that are not as predominant as the ones I just mentioned. Now in Richmond County, 47% of the soil makeup is Rumford, Emporia, Suffolk, and then about 23% is Suffolk, Rumford. If we move over to Northumberland and Lancaster counties, they actually share the same predominant soil makeup, which is called sassafras sandy. In Northumberland County, about 50% of the soil is sassafras sandy, and in Lancaster, the number is about 40%. So our soils in the Northern Neck are most conducive to growing small grain crops, are things like wheat and soybeans and corn. In Westmoreland County especially, there's also a lot of vegetable farming that is done. Now, for a fact about our soils, because they are so predominantly sandy, they are prone to erosion, and because of our proximity to the bay, this can present a problem because sandy sediment that runs off into the bay can cause a lot of problems in the bay. So the best thing that you can do in the Northern Neck, if you have agricultural land, is to keep something planted on it at all times of the year. In farming, this is known as a cover crop. What it does is it keeps the soil in place so that it cannot wash off or run off. So the soil stays in place to grow crops, and it does not run off into the Chesapeake Bay. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this program.
Hi everybody, my name is Louise Jacques. I'm a soil scientist with the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and I'm going to talk to you about some soil that you would have in your area, maybe even in your backyard. What I have here, this is a Codorus soil. Thank you to the Piedmont Soil and Water District for giving me their monolith to borrow. This is a soil monolith. This is made using shellac, and this is an actual soil profile frozen in time. This thing is old. This was made about 10 years ago. Codorus is a floodplain soil. Where you would find this is you'd find it along the flat areas, along rivers. You don't typically find this on any kind of slope. It's typically pretty flat. Parent material is going to actually be recent sediment. This is going to come from the river flooding over and over and depositing sediment. That's what's going to form this. It is considered well drained. However, it does have hydric inclusions, meaning there are wetland areas around, most notably along the toe slopes of hills coming down to the river. You can see here, you can see this is kind of the soil profile. This is what it would typically look like if you were to dig it up. This was made in a farmed field, so it has been plowed. You can see up here that there's some dark, that's from organic matter infusion from the top. This is what we call humus. Some of you may have heard that, that term come around. Down here we would have probably some sand to some loam. It would feel really gritty, but it would also be very porous. And down here you're getting to some of the older sediment, and this would be more clay. This would be the thicker stuff. And because you have this really porous stuff here at the top, water is actually going to move through this pretty quickly. So when it floods, it's going to flood and then it's going to seep back into the soil column pretty quick. That's why you don't see constantly flooded floodplains. That's why you see once the river floods, it recedes pretty quickly, is because the soil is so porous. And that is my brief overview of Cove Doris soils. This is one of the many soils you have around. If you would like to know more, would like an overview of any other soil you may have, please contact me and I will pass on my contact information as needed. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed your lesson.
Hey, I'm Tim with Mountain Castle Soil and Water Conservation District. We serve Botetourt County and Craig County. Today I'm in Botetourt, and we are right at the transition between the Blue Ridge region and the Valiant Ridge region. You can see the Blue Ridge behind me. We're gonna go and try and find a soil type that I've never heard of until doing some research for this video. It's Botetourt loam. And it's not super widespread. Matter of fact, the only place I could find it was this little 3 or 4 acre section back in the hollow behind me. So let's go see if we can find it. So as we walk up this driveway, actually we're in Camp Bethel. So yes, I did ask permission before I came back here. I will share my fun fact about this soil, which you kind of just heard already, is that the fact that it's the only soil that I know of that's named for Botetourt County. And that I totally had never heard of it until just 2 days ago. So we're going to discover this soil together. So just an FYI, this is not normally how we do sort of a soil investigation. Usually we start with the site we want to look at, and then as part of what we're looking at, we look at the soils as well. This has turned into more of a scavenger hunt, which honestly I kind of like, where we pick the soil and then go try and find it on the site that it's on. So we're getting close. We're going a bit old school today. Rather than using the NRCS Web Soil Survey, we're using the Soil Survey of Botetourt County, Virginia, the manual, which is a little old but still works. Not sure what kind of connectivity I'd have out here, which is poor, obviously, but you can see where my stick is pointing. We're looking for soil 5B. That little section, that's the Botetourt loam we're looking for. We're right at about where that little intermittent stream crosses. So I feel like we're right in the middle of this section. So we're gonna dig a little hole and see what we find. So this is Botetourt loam. Loam is a combination, equal-ish combination of sand, silt, and clay. So you have some of all particles in there, about equal amounts. As you go further down in the profile here, you do get a bit more clay, but the surface layer is very loamy. It's officially brown loam. I'm going to try and dig a little deeper, and you may see a little more yellowish color in some of the lower layers. But a lot of root growth here. This is pretty well drained. I think officially it's moderately well drained according to the survey. Even though it's kind of on the bottomland here, it's classified as rarely flooded. And we are up maybe 10 or 15 feet total from the stream, even though it's all flat. And I can give you a quick look around. This gives you a pretty good idea of the types of places you'll see Botetourt loam. These slightly raised stream terraces, flat but not frequently flooded, so up a little bit. often at the foot of these slopes, on kind of the toe of the slope here. Support forests, woods, both hardwood and pine, and also hay and pasture. Botetourt loam, pretty good for growing grass as well. Another characteristic of Botetourt loam is that you're going to find it sort of these long, windy, twisty little pockets, often in the vicinity of creeks. So it can be kind of tricky to find, obviously, because it's the only piece that I know of in the county, although I'm sure others exist if I studied the map long enough. So they're not very big, these small pockets, but kind of cool. So quite the adventure to come out and take a look at this today. So